So today I'm going to be doing a tier list on the fighters who had to deal with the most pressure during their fight. This could be due to different reasons. Maybe let's say the expectations they had on them, the trash talk they were doing before the fight night, the fight during on media day or whatever. The location, these type of stuff. So I'm gonna go from S tier, obviously being the most pressure someone felt during a fight, and D tier meaning you felt pressure more than the average fighter usually does, which is not as significant as the others, you know what I mean? But let's crack straight into it then. I'm going to pick these out. I've got a few fights down here below. And I'm just going to decide on the spot whether they're, the A, B, C, D, S, whatever. So I'm doing this on the spot right now. I'm going to decide right now. Okay, cool. Let's start off with this fight. Pantoja vs. Erceg. Where am I going to put this fight? B tier. I think it was Pantoja who had more pressure than Erceg on his shoulders for sure. So obviously Pantoja's champ. The casual fans who are at the arena at the time probably not really going to know who Erceg is or any of the wins he has. They just know him as the guy who's ranked 10 at the time. Pantoja's fighting in his hometown against this guy that people probably don't really know so well. If you lose to this guy who's not established himself too greatly at this point, that's they're going to think that's a big stock drop. And he nearly did lose, to be fair, but it was a great fight. Massive pressure on Pantoja's shoulders in this fight, so fair play to him. He pulled through, even though I do think Erceg won, and I picked Erceg to win as well, which is a sleeper pick of mine. The fight was going exactly how I thought it was, how I thought it would go, but then Erceg would win the decision, but Erceg was just unnecessarily shooting takedowns in the last rounds, then got reversed and lost rounds. But, that's a conversation for another day. Another fight. I'm going to put this in B tier as well, actually. Bo Nickal vs. Cody Brundage. I know what you're thinking, like, maybe these guys are unranked, like, who really cares about this fight? But 300 main card, like, come on. Dana's trying to push this guy so hard. I'm not going to lie, I'm not a fan of Bo Nickal. I probably don't like the guy for some reason. I don't know what it is. It's just the fact, he didn't get a first round finish in a minute or whatever. Then, because he doesn't get a first round finish, he's disappointed in himself. Fair play, I mean, but like, I don't know, it just seems so forced, like, so forced. And he always fights on these massive cards. His debut, 285, Jones Gunn, one of the biggest main events of the year at that time. Then 290, main card as well. These are all on the main card. Volk Rodriguez was International Fight Week. Then 300 main card. Then now he's going to fight on 309, which is probably going to be on the main card as well, MSG. He's got his Infinity Gauntlet already complete. Like, he's fighting on all these monumental cards and stuff. And then, so imagine Dana trying to push this prospect so heavily on the biggest card of the year, on the main card, opening it, then he just doesn't deliver. Imagine that. So, but he did pull through. Fair play. And big pressure on Bo Nickal. Next, in the A tier this time, O'Malley vs. Cheeto, right? So O'Malley obviously just became champ, his first defense, coming off a great win against Aljo, right? Then he calls out Cheeto specifically, even though he wasn't in a position where he deserved it. Merab or probably Sanhagen at the time deserved it. Either one of those two, probably Merab though. But then O'Malley specifically calls out Cheeto because he lost to him, saying Cheeto sucks and how much of the fluke the first fight was. So if he imagine he lost to him again. Imagine the narrative at that point, like, especially when he was fighting in Miami, right? This is what, I know Miami's lots of Latinos and stuff and Spanish people, so they were all cheering for Cheeto. But as I predicted, O'Malley ended up piecing him up and just cruising himself to a decision. I low-key thought O'Malley was gonna have a bit more fans. He did towards the end of the fight, but at the start when they were doing the walkouts and stuff and like the first round, everyone was cheering for Cheeto because they're Spanish and he's Latino and South American and whatnot. But big pressure on O'Malley's shoulders, especially being your first defense in a massive arena. I mean, these are all in massive arenas, to be fair, but you know what I mean. Pick up another one here. Ooh, another A tier one. Can't even see it, the photo too well, but Poirier vs Conor 3. All the pressure on from this fight is all on Conor. So obviously this is the trilogy fight. First one, Conor knocked him out. Second one, Poirier knocked him out. But the first one was heated. Second one was their buds, best buds, sharing hot sauce, sharing I can't remember what it was. Dustin asked for hot sauce or something. Conor asked for Dustin's hot sauce or something like that. Their best buds there, tipping each other's hats off at the face-offs. Yeah. But then, the third fight comes around. Look at the beef they got. Conor's like, I can't remember what the beef was for. I think Conor said he was going to donate to a charity. Then he ended up not doing it. Then they have their beef and stuff. But it's not even about the beef, really. It's just the fact that imagine Conor's about to come off back-to-back KO losses to the same guy. That's all his aura gone. His star power diminished by about 50%. He's just not going to have the same star power. I'm sure he's always going to have the star power, you know what I mean? But he did lose, obviously, but it was the best way he could have lost, you know what I mean? He didn't lose his star power. He probably gained star power, to be honest. Breaking your leg like that, where everyone's crying and you can't talk, then Conor's just giving trash talk against the cage. You're always in my DMs, yeah? You know what I mean? Yeah. Massive pressure on Conor in this fight. And he didn't lose any star power at all. He lost, but he didn't really lose any stock, so I'm sure these guys don't really feel pressure like that when they're in there. These guys are crazy, but yeah. From let's say someone were to be replacing these fighters from their perspective, then that's when you feel the pressure, right? Okay, an S-tier fight, an S-tier moment in terms of pressure. Sleeper, in my opinion. Aspinall vs Blades 2. Right, so many factors in this one. In the first place, right, Aspinall should not have been fighting Blades. He should have been fighting Jones. Probably on this card. Or an MSG or whatnot. But it doesn't matter. He should not be fighting Blades. He's got all the pressure on his shoulders. Everyone's been saying this is the guy to KO Jones. And everyone says that about Jones's opponents. Like, there's always a guy who's going to KO Jones. But this is the guy that they're all so confident on, you know what I mean? This is the guy they all think who's got Jones's number. He's going to KO him, but yeah. So Jones has been he's been tweeting about, before this fight got booked, when this fight got booked, Jones was tweeting like, oh, don't bet against the American wrestler, right? Don't bet against these guys. I think Blades is a horror matchup. Don't be surprised if he gets it done early. Then, you know what I mean? In his home crowd, defending an interim belt in his hometown. Like, all these factors, man. This is S-tier pressure, right? And he delivered round 1 KO in a minute. Bang on a minute. So, defending an interim belt, which is like the second time it's ever been done. Yeah, he's a real champ. And this is a proper S-tier moment, like, undoubtedly. Okay. Where should I put this fight? I'm probably near the bottom, I'd say. Okay, fine. D-tier. Whittaker vs Ikram. I think you can argue both guys had pressure on their shoulders at this point. Probably more so Ikram, though, you know what I mean? Because Whittaker's had the spotlight. He's had main events against these guys, crowded fight nights, pay-per-views as well. He's had headline pay-per-views. But then on short notice, he's fighting this young up-and-coming guy in basically a pro Aliskerov crowd. Then he's taking this on short notice against a guy everyone's hyping up because of his name and stuff. But Ikram, on the other hand, I mean, Whittaker's obviously been in these moments, so he's used to this, so not as much pressure on him. But Ikram, on the other hand, he's a headline of this card, first ever time, in a pro Aliskerov crowd, short notice, and Khabib's been talking about, this guy's legit, he's good, I believe in him, I think he's going to win this fight. He's got the OV, ending in an OV, so obviously people are already going to be high on this guy automatically. That's how it works. When you, Aliskerov or Chimaev or Makachev, you know what I mean? When you have these type of names, you automatically got hype. So he's got this hype already, and he flunks it and gets killed in 1 round. So, I mean, he was unranked, so that's kind of the reason why it's kind of low. So if he was a top contender, maybe ranked number in the top 5, and then fighting Whittaker and got KO'd in a minute, it wasn't a minute, but however long it was, in the first round, then that's a big stock diminish. I mean, he did lose stock, but it's not as much pressure if you're unranked, for sure. Next, C-tier. Edwards vs Colby. Not really on Leon. It kind of seemed like an ordinary defense for Leon, but more so for Kobe. There's pressure, but not so high, right? So obviously before this he's 0-2 in title fights. Then what am I saying? He was 0-2 in title fights. Then this is his third chance. Even though, actually, this is more pressure the more I think about it, right? Because he didn't even deserve this title shot in the first place. He did not deserve this title shot. Yeah, and imagine he goes. So his first title shot, right? KO'd by Usman in the 5th round, but it was an arguable early stoppage, right? Even though I don't really think so, but that's what the general opinion was. Gets his second title shot in a close fight against Usman. He did lose 3-2 or 4-1 or whatever. I can't remember. I haven't watched it in a while. Then he still goes aura though. You know what I mean? He can still trash talk. He still, it was a close fight, so he still goes aura. Then he beats Masvidal in dominant fashion. Then he's out for 2-3 years nearly. Then he gets his third title shot. So, you know what I mean? If you go 0-3, then no matter how you lose, it's still embarrassing. Three opportunities you had, you couldn't do it once. So, but you know, no matter how Kobe loses or how he did lose, sorry. He always has the trash talk. So he's always going to be able to promote himself no matter what. He did lose aura and hype, and he did have pressure on his shoulders, talking all this trash about Leon, his dead dad and all that. Then it backfired, so he lost. Yeah, massive pressure on Kobe, and it backfired because he's proper lost his aura now. He's ducking Gary. He's just not fighting anymore. I don't know. Kobe's a weird one. Next, I'm going to put this in it. A tier. Izzy versus Pereira 2. Pressure's not really on Pereira here, it's on Izzy. Now, obviously, he's lost twice to him in kickboxing at this point, and just lost him once at MMA by KO. If he loses a 4th time to him, there's almost no excuse or valid reason for you to get another rematch after that. Especially if you lose the 4th fight by KO, let's say, there's no way you get another rematch after that, unless Pereira was to move up and vacate, or he got injured and had to vacate, something like that. There's no way he's getting another title shot. And just the way he talks, man, you know what I mean? Just the way he talks, like Izzy talks, sorry, I should have said. You know, I'm a dog, I gotta be unleashed. Then he's so confident every fight now. I was so shocked how he got it done. I did not expect that at all. I did not expect it to flatline Pereira like that. Not at all, which is weird. Did not expect that. Fair play to him. But he had a lot of pressure, man. Like, fair play to him. Like, he's 0-3 against this guy, and he's talking. He has all this confidence, like, behind himself. I'm not the biggest fan of Izzy, but you gotta respect that. I'm not gonna lie. Like, fair play to him. Massive pressure on him, and he pulled it off. Big fluke. Next. This is S tier or A tier? I'm trying to decide. S tier. No. Flips it. I just spoiled one. That's not S tier. This is S tier. Poirier vs Conor 3. Wait, what? No. Diaz vs Conor 2. I don't know why I said Poirier vs Conor 3 again. This is S tier for sure. So obviously Conor he just recently came off the Aldo KO. Biggest star in the company. Biggest name of the UFC. Then he takes a short notice fight against Diaz at 202. Loses by sub in the 2nd round. That's already big aura loss and stock loss for him. Even though it's short notice, up 2 weight classes. 25 pounds heavier than he usually fights, and all short notice. So you could say he's not really adjusted to the weight yet at that point. Then he got subbed in 2nd round. Fair play to Conor for having the guts to pull out the rematch instead of going back to featherweight and defending or asking for another title shot in his lower weight classes. So yeah, he wanted the rematch straight away, which was risky. Diaz is a scary matchup for him, but I guess this time he did have a bit more pressure. I mean, bit more time to prepare, sorry. So I guess it's a bit, not as much. But, you know what I mean? Imagine he were to lose this fight again to Diaz. That's all his stock gone. I don't know about all his stock, but, you know what I mean? Like, you can't lose to the same guy twice in a row. You almost nearly did that damn lose, like. Close fight, fair play to him taking the fight. It was a great fight. He proper rebounded his stock by winning. So, yeah. C tier, Charles was Dariush, as I spoke earlier. So obviously Charles was coming off the loss to Islam. He needed to bounce back in a spectacular fashion if he wanted to get the rematch, which he even did not get after the win. Anyways. yeah, so I was low-key picking Charles to win by first round KO. The general consensus for this fight was that Darius is going to smoke him or lay and prey on him for 3 rounds or even KO him with a big OP overhand. But he didn't end up doing that. I knew Charles was going to win first round KO, and he did. But then he didn't even end up getting his title shot, which is sad. He fought Sarukian, then now he's in the same position that he would have been in if he did lose this fight to Benil, which is sad, man. Charles is one of my favourites. Yeah, it was big pressure on him, but not necessarily ST, you know what I mean? Like, it's not a belt on the line, not necessarily a Brazilian crowd where Charles is natively from, or something like that. But this is a pressure moment for sure, like, no doubt about it. I got 2 left here. This I'm going to put in the B tier. Strickland versus Izzy. Okay, another Izzy moment. Yeah, the pressure's on Izzy here, not on Strickland. Like, you know, when you go back to the 276 press conference, right? I bet during that press conference, Izzy was never expecting Strickland to be in a position where he's getting a title shot. That's why he was talking all this trash. And I bet he probably just thought he was better than him or a bad matchup for him. Like, he didn't have to worry about Strickland, right? But you know what I mean? So he ended up getting his title shot, Strickland. Then, you know, I'm sure in the press conference he's just cooking him all the time. And this fight was in Sydney or somewhere in Australia, I'm not sure. Then this is meant to be a pro Izzy crowd, innit? But Strickland got all the fans. He's getting all the cheers. Even when Izzy's meant to be the one getting the cheers and meant to be the fan favourite there. But it's Strickland. So this is just mind games for Izzy. Like, Strickland's been talking all this trash to him for how many years? Since 276 all the way to 293, right? But it's not necessarily S tier because before the fight you're thinking Izzy, this easy fight for Izzy, right? But hey, he goes ahead and pulls it off like that, Strickland. So big moment for Izzy, and the pressure seems like it got to him. Last but not least, probably the most obvious example, right? Ilya vs. Volk. I'm a massive Volk fan, but I'm over it at this point. Like, after like 3 months, 2-3 months, I'm just over one of my favorite fighters losing or getting KO'd or whatever. I get over it. But yeah, this is probably the best example, right? So obviously Volk's coming off the KO loss to Islam. It seems like there's no way after making such a short turnaround he's not going to get KO'd against such a scary striker in Ilya, right? And Ilya talked all this trash even since before the fight was booked. He was saying 15th rows and 15-0. He does this little promo videos and all that. Yeah. He talks all this trash. Old man Volk steals the belt at media day. You know what I mean? Fair play to Ilya, man. This is why he's the biggest star. No, not biggest star, but he's a massive star in the company right now. Because he backed it up, I guess. Fair play to him. And yeah. Yeah, this is my tier list, though. In terms of fighters who had the most pressure for a fight, right? Let me know if there's anything I missed out. I'm sure there are. I couldn't. This is all I could think of from my head, right? I'm sure there are more examples and stuff, but yeah. Let me know down below in the comments, innit? And thank you and goodbye.